What's going on, guys? Jacob Borth back here with another video of Jacob's Life in Vegas, and today I'm going to be talking about 16 psychological tricks that casinos use in order to get you to spend more money while you're gambling. I think you're going to find this one pretty interesting. The number one thing that casinos like to do when it comes to getting people to gamble more is put the machines and all the gambling equipment right at the entrance. They waste no time at the casinos reminding you why you decided to come there in the first place. Trick number two that casinos do is a lot of times they have a very complicated floor plan when you're inside them, okay? They're intentionally confusing to walk through. It feels like you're walking through a maze when you go through some of these casinos, and especially in Vegas when you have hotels as big as the ones here. We have some of the biggest hotels in the world. They're so big and they're such a complex area to walk through sometimes. They do that by design to keep you in there longer and to try to get you essentially lost, where you'll spend more time inside the casino, because they know the more time you're in there, the better chance you're going to spend money. So yeah, think about it. Say you're in a situation where you're on your phone talking to a friend, trying to find them in the casino somewhere. You don't know where they're at. You say, hey, I'm over by here. They say, well, I'm over by this. And they tell you, all right, well, just stay where you're at. They say, just stay where you are, and I'll come find you. Or, hey, I think I know where you're at. Stay over there. I'll come find you, right? So now you're standing in the casino for several minutes waiting for your friend. What are you likely to do? Maybe you go sit down at a slot machine. You just play a little bit. The casino just got a little bit more money in those few minutes while you're waiting for your friend to come find you. That brings me to the third thing that casinos will do to try to get you to spend more money, is that oftentimes you look at the big hotels and casinos, especially here in Las Vegas, and you notice that there's not really any place to sit that's not at a table or not at a machine or something like that. These big hotels, there's nowhere to sit in the lobby. When you go to the registration check-in, there's nowhere to sit in the lobby. When you walk through the casinos, the only place to sit, you're either at machines or at tables. They don't want people lounging around there if they're not going to be spending money. So they encourage you to try to spend money by wanting you, if you want to sit down, you basically have to sit somewhere where gambling is going to be right in front of you, and it encourages you to spend your money in the casino. The fourth trick that casinos will implement is, you ever look at the carpeting in these casinos, the design of the carpeting. You look at it and it's kind of like, it's almost like mesmerizing to your brain just because of the patterns they have. They have these unusual patterns that almost like mesmerize your brain, but kind of like ugly to look at. They're kind of ugly to the human eye. They're not very pleasing to look at. So if you don't really want to look at them, or you find them kind of distasteful, on a subconscious level, you're more likely to obviously not look at the floor, and you're going to be looking at what? All the gambling equipment that they have inside the casino. They're trying to move your attention to get it to focus on the gambling equipment. The fifth thing that casinos do to try to trick people into spending more money is they essentially make the machines and the gambling equipment part of the casino's decor. You ever walk through the casino, you ever notice that there's really not a whole lot of real memorable decorations inside of them, okay? Because they don't want anything to distract you from the gambling equipment, from the machines, from the tables. See this ugly carpet you don't really want to look at. There's no other real decorations that are real, pleasing to the eye that you're going to just stop and really be in awe. There's no big forms of art or anything like that that's going to capture your attention. Everything in there is essentially designed to keep you looking right at all the gambling equipment. None of the decor, none of the carpet, nothing else is going to be really pleasing. So you try to make the machines pleasing. And they just use the gambling equipment, to be part of the decor in the casino, because that's where they want your visual attention, is on all the gambling options. The sixth tactic that casinos do to try to get people to spend more money inside of them is, you ever look at the location of a lot of the services in these casinos, a lot of times it can be really spread out. So you look at where the elevators are, where the bathroom is, where the cashier is to go cash out your chips, even where food options are in the casino. Oftentimes those places are spread out from each other around the casino floor. So you may have the bathroom at one point, the cashier at another point, you may have the elevators over here if you need to get to your room, food might be some food here, maybe some food over here as well. They have things spread out for a reason. Obviously to get you to be walking across the casino floor more. The more you're walking across the floor, the more you're just exposed to the gambling options, the more likely you are to actually be spending money inside of the casino. So they intentionally do that, just like how grocery stores intentionally put the milk in the back, so that people have to walk through the entire store just to get milk, and hopefully on the way back they'll buy other stuff while they're in the store. It's the same thing with casinos. They put services in different parts of the casinos, and they spread them out to keep you in there longer, to keep you walking through the property longer. The seventh trick that casinos do when you're here in Vegas and you're inside spending money is they do everything they can to block out the concept of time. So you ever go inside a casino, you'll notice that there's usually no clocks, there's no windows, and the lighting inside is always the same. Whether it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., the lighting inside the casino is the same. So when you're in there, you have no concept of time. They try to block out the concept of time for you. So you'd be in there, the lights are always the same, you don't see a clock anywhere, you don't see the sun coming up, you don't see the sun going down, you're just in there, basically like in a rhythm, in a subconscious rhythm, in a zone where you're just gambling, you're playing, and you're just not thinking about anything else. It kind of just like gets you into this subconscious state of just relaxation where you just kind of block out what's taking place, outside the casino, what time of day it is, and you just stay in there longer and longer and longer and keep playing. The 8th trick that casinos will do to try to get people to spend more money is you'll see when you're inside, you'll notice that there's always music playing, right? And the music's playing on a loop, okay? There's never really a break in music in the casino, and you notice the music is usually a bit upbeat. It's not real loud. It's not like it's super loud when you walk in, it's going to distract you. Remember, they don't want you distracted, okay? But it's not always so low, or it's not that they don't have any music at all. If there's no music at all, then you're going to be more aware of, it's going to be easier for you to get distracted. When they have the music playing, it's a little bit upbeat, and it's always in a constant loop where it's playing, so it kind of gets you into this unconscious rhythm where if you're sitting at a table, you're sitting on a slot machine, you basically get into the rhythm of the music, and it just keeps going and going. There's no break in it. There's no break in the music, so there's usually no break in your subconscious rhythm. So the fact they do that keeps you in a rhythm and keeps you playing. And the fact that it's a bit more upbeat music is going to something too that gets people, the faster the music. Now, they don't play anything too crazy, but when you play faster music, it tends to encourage people to gamble more. It just gets them a little bit more caught up in the moment, a little more caught up with the energy of the environment. So they'll play the music a little bit upbeat, and they'll be always constantly playing. There'll be no break in the music to keep you in that subconscious state where you're just there and you're just casually just gambling away. You're not really, being very attentive. The 9th trick that casinos will do to get people to try to spend more money while they're here gambling is the use of the color red. You'll notice that the color red, or some variation of the color red, is very common in casinos. Okay, red is a color that's associated with arousal. Okay, and then arousal, what does it do? It gets people excited, gives them the dopamine rush, and it tends to encourage people to gamble more. That's the whole point, is to get people engaged in the gambling environment, engaged in the moment, get them aroused, give them the dopamine rush, so they get that emotional high, and if they want to keep going, keep playing, keep the high, they want to keep spending more money. So you'll see red a lot as a color in different casinos all around the area. The 10th thing that casinos will use to their advantage to try to get people to spend more money is using lots of lights, flashing lights, right, and loud noises. Okay, those are all stimulants, right? All stimulants to grab your attention and keep it focused on the machines and keep it focused on the gambling environment. Plus those lights, that act as stimulants, the noises, what do? They're upbeat, they grab your attention, they make you aware, they increase your heart rate, and they give you a rush that makes you want to keep gambling in there. Maybe not be huge, you may not be thinking about it as consciously as I'm saying it right now, but all those have an effect. All those lights, all those noises in there, that environment encourages you to stay, encourages you to spend, encourages you to bet even more. Trick number 11 that a lot of times casinos will use is they will take these loud noises and lights and use them to make sure that everybody sees when somebody wins big. When somebody wins big, there's a reason lights go off, noises are going off, and it's a show and it grabs people's attention, okay? Those are essentially non-verbal cues, right? That is non-verbal communication to you, the other person in the area, or someone else next to him who's playing to see, wow, that person just won money. They just won, right? So if they won, and then why can't I win, right? They won, why can't I win? They've made some money, I should keep gambling because I have just as good a chance of winning as they do. That's what that is. That is nonverbal communication that they use to grab your attention, to get you to stay in the seat and get you to keep spending more. Trick number 12 that casinos will use to try to get people to spend more money inside of their property is that they give an illusion of control. So to go off the last point I just made, where people see someone who just won a bunch of money at a slot machine, right? People think that if they're at a machine and it requires like a skill, right? A skill of pressing a button, pulling a lever, right? They think it's something that they can actually perfect, that they can work on, they can improve. If they just improve it enough, they can win more, just like that other person won money over there. So they can time the slot when they pull the lever a certain way, or they get really quick at a button, or they see a cue that they think is going to help them, and they try to press the button quicker. Whatever tactic you come up with in your head, whatever tip you think, or tips you think you've come across to help you win more money in these casinos, people buy into those kind of things and they think they have more control than they really do. So people think if they just develop the skill a little more, play a little more, they can win their money back and then win even more money. Probably not going to happen. The 13th thing that casinos do to encourage people to spend more money is they give away free drinks. Okay, this is an obvious one. They give away free drinks while you're playing because what does alcohol do? It lowers your inhibitions, it impairs your judgment, and generally, when your judgment's impaired, you tend to spend some more money if you're going to be in an environment like a casino, right? You know, you might be there, you drank a little bit, and instead of being sober, you think, you know, maybe I shouldn't bet all the money I have in my hand right now, right? Maybe if you've been drinking a little bit, you're like, well, I'm in Vegas, this is fun, you know, go big or go home. Yeah, there's a good chance you're going to wind up going home after that one. The 14th trick that casinos use when people are there gambling to get them to spend more money is near wins. Near wins. You come like that close to winning, right? When you're just right there, you almost win. It gives you this big rush, right? You get a big dopamine rush, and it's so thrilling because you're like, oh my gosh, I was so close, right? You feel like you went 98% of the way. You did almost everything right, and you were that close to getting the win. And when you feel like you're that close, it just in your mind makes you want to keep going. You're like, I'm this close. I need a little bit more. I'm bound to win if I just keep going. I'm almost there. That's what it does to you. It gives you this big thrill, this big dopamine rush, and makes you think that you're really closer to winning than you actually are. So you get those near wins like that. There's just another like psychological trick that's being played in order to get you to stay there and keep feeding the machine more and more money. The 15th thing that casinos like to do to get people to spend more money inside is to give comps, okay? This is a trick that, you know, casinos will give to people for gambling, and what it does in your mind, it creates a positive association between gambling and getting quote-unquote freebies, right? You think you're getting something for free even though you're not, because you had to spend the money gambling in order to even get the quote-unquote free item. So it creates this association where, you know, if you gamble, then you're getting stuff for free. That's the association in your head. And even for people who, you know, they know that, say, hey, I lost money, the other thing it does is that they tell themselves, well, at least I got a night comped, you know, on my stay. At least I got dinner comped. At least I got something comped. So they don't feel like they came out just with completely nothing. They don't feel like they came away totally empty-handed. So when you do that, you know, in that line of thinking, you say, well, hey, you know, at least I got something, you know, for my play. At least I got something, even though it may not be exactly what I want. You're much more likely to come back in the future because you feel like you didn't come away empty-handed. So you feel like even if you do gamble and you don't get the money you want, you don't win your money back, you're still going to at least get something out of it, which is a big indication and a big encouragement for people to come back and gamble again. The 16th thing that casinos will do to try to get you to stay in there and spend more money is they will pump a scent into the casino, usually a very good smelling scent that's just refreshing and uplifting and makes you just feel more comfortable while you're in there, because obviously the more comfortable you feel, if you like what's going on in the casino, it smells nice, you're more likely to stay and spend more money. So as you guys can see, when it comes to human psychology, these casinos have a pretty good grasp on it. Everything from the layout to your senses, to anything they can do visually, to your hearing, to your smell, that they can do to create an environment that gets you to spend more money, they pretty much have it down. They know exactly what they're doing when it comes to getting people to come in, stay, spend money inside the casino, and there's all kinds of, if you notice too, when you look at it, a lot of them are not things that you may think about consciously. They're small things that you may not consciously think about, but subconsciously they do affect you in that environment, and these casinos know that. So these are some things that casinos use to try to get people to spend more money. Hopefully you guys found it interesting. I hope you guys liked it. Remember, if you want to get deals on Vegas in the future, use a link down below, JacobsVegasDeals.com. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched this far, please subscribe to the channel. That's it for this video. I'm Jacob. This is My Life in Vegas. Now, since you've made it into the video this long, I'll go over two more things about casinos and tricks that they play or supposedly play on people to talk about. The first one I'll get into these last two is, you know, one that's, I just mentioned how the casinos use a scent to, you know, keep people, you know, feeling refreshed and have them help enjoy the environment. That's something casinos do. One thing they don't do, though, is pump oxygen, right? That's one you see online. Sometimes people say, oh, they pump oxygen into the casinos to try to, you know, keep the gamblers more alert and, you know, keep them more awake, to keep them there and spending more money. Now, that's been one that sounds like, you know, it's more of a myth from like decades ago, and, you know, I've never even heard of it here in Vegas happening anywhere. So maybe at one point in time it did happen, but I've never heard of it happening here in Vegas or any place like that. So that's one you'll see commonly, that, you know, people say, oh, casinos pump oxygen, but I don't think there's a lot of truth to it. The last one I'll tell you guys about, this one actually did happen, but it happened up in Canada. It was up in a Canadian casino where it was these slot machines were giving subliminal messages. And what they were doing was we would be playing, and for a fraction of a second, like a fifth of a second, it would flash on the screen 5 of a kind while people were sitting there playing. So it was kind of like, you know, a way to give you like this fake sense that they were going to be winning and give them like this false sense they had a chance of really hitting a jackpot, and just to get them to sit there and encourage them to play more and more and more. And this happened in 2007. And what actually happened was the casino had to remove 87 slot machines that they found were doing this. They're giving that, fraction of a second popping or showing 5 of a kind on there, basically just trying to like completely fool people and just try to just encourage them and make them think they had a better chance of winning the jackpot than they did. I think the casino said it was, or maybe the company said it was like a glitch in their software or something like that. But nonetheless, they were doing it, and all those machines had to be taken out.